Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong opposition to the Wrong Choice Act. This bill will have a devastating impact on the ability of regulators to protect everyday Americans from future wrongdoing on Wall Street. If you support consumers, you must oppose the Wrong Choice Act. If you want to make sure that consumers have a fighting chance against those big banks and against illegal practices, then you must oppose the Wrong Choice Act, because this act guts the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And in nearly 6 years, the Consumers Bureau has returned nearly $12 billion to 29 million Americans hurt by illegal financial practices, reduced $7.7 billion in consumer debts while winning $3.7 billion in compensation for consumers. And it has benefited nearly 50 million households in the form of new protections, shielding consumers from surprise costs and terms on their mortgages and their credit cards. Now, at a time when we have a student loan crisis in this country, $1.4 trillion in student debt, we have to make sure that we are protecting families, students, young people around these predatory debt collection practices, and all working families around predatory lending. And my home state of Washington was proud to work with the CFPB on those new regulations that would actually protect working people, make sure that they have off-ramps if they get into predatory loans, and make sure that we regulate that industry. The benefits of Dodd-Frank are not limited just to consumers, by the way. Big and small banks have benefited. Lending is at record highs, and 2016 data from the FDIC shows that those banks are doing pretty well. The financial crisis, which destroyed trillions of dollars in wealth and wreaked havoc on the financial lives of millions of families, was not a random event. The Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission itself said that widespread failures in financial regulation and rampant predatory lending practices.
I'd like to, I think I can yield an additional minute to the
Gentlewoman is recognized.
The Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission itself said that widespread failures in financial regulation and rampant predatory lending practices were key drivers of the crisis. This bill ignores those lessons and takes us so far backwards, Mr. Speaker. Real people are struggling to recover from that 2008 crisis still. And instead of rolling back protections for consumers, we should be investing in jobs for everyday Americans. We should be making sure that the guy on Main Street or the woman on Main Street has a chance against those big banks and against all those predatory practices. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to support consumers and working Americans and to oppose the Wrong Choice Act.